Hey guys, welcome back to 10 a day. So it's another Kali class today. We're going to be focusing on our Redondo strikes today, all right? So the first thing that we're gonna do with our Redondo strike is gonna be our backhand Redondo strike. So our backhand Redondo strike looks like this, right? I like these when my hand's already on the side. It's a quick strike that I can use usually to hit somebody's hands. That's my main target, but I can hit other things as well when I'm doing this. So keys here, I'm gonna start off in this position, right? I like it next to my arm instead of over the arm. It can go over the arm as well though. We're going to learn it, raise up a little bit, drop it down, and then you're gonna feel a certain point. For me, it's right about here. That's when my wrist doesn't wanna keep going straight and it's gonna turn over, right? So feel where that's at. One really good way to actually learn this is to use a baseball bat, right? Something heavy, just let it drop, and then wherever your wrist decides it wants to roll over at, that's what you're gonna be doing, right? So I like to raise it up at first and do this, but later on, you're just gonna push it forward. But it's easier to practice and learn if we raise it up because it creates this circular motion, right? Redondo means circular, just so you know. So circular strikes, just like this. So we're gonna practice our backhand first. Ready? Set, and go. Now, when you're doing this, I want you to think about that blade edge that we talked about before, all right? Where those knocking knuckles are, I'm pointing my knocking knuckles directly towards the front as I'm doing this. I can bring my hip up and then pull back to get a little bit more power, right? So if I'm using my right hand, my right hip points off to the right side, and then I pull it towards my left side to get a little bit more power. Get this nice circular motion going, right? Feel the flow right now. You don't have to really go powerful with this. Feel that flow. Make sure you're pointing those knocking knuckles towards the front each time, and then get a little bit of hip motion into it, right? So I'm pulling my hip back as I'm striking out. Hip back as I strike out. Keep this going. Breathe as naturally as possible. Don't hold your breath. And time. All right, so now we're gonna do the exact same thing, but with our left hand. 1 minute. Ready? Begin. Nice and slow. Doesn't have to be fast. Just get this motion going. Pull the hip back as you strike down, just like this. All right? Me, just like you, I need to practice my left hand as well. It's not as good, but that's why we're practicing, right? Keep that blade edge orientation as you're striking down, and make sure that you roll the wrist down here. Don't roll the wrist up here, right? We don't want this. All the way through with that motion here. Once you start to feel a little bit more comfortable, get that flow going, right? I'm not going fast still, I'm not going hard, but I am going continuous. I'm getting these reps in, and that's what I want you to be doing with these short 10-minute lessons. We don't have very much time, so we're learning something, and then we're repping it out. Right? Keep it going. Turn that hip back each time. And time. All right, so that was our backhand Redondo strike. The next one we're gonna do is gonna be this forehand Redondo strike. So right foot's in front, holding it over my right shoulder. I'm going to strike down, and I'm pulling my hip back. Pull the hip back as we do this. Now you can do this from on top of the shoulder or on top of the head. You might find that on top of the head is a little bit easier. I don't care which one you do, just do one, right? Doesn't matter to me. Ready? 1 minute, right side, and begin. Strike, strike. Pull that hip back as you do this. Drop it down as you do that strike, and then end in that same position. Even if you start on the head, end in the shoulder load position. Here. You can go from shoulder load, high load, to shoulder load. Either way, works just fine. Keep it going. Exhale with each one of these. And now, like before, I'm putting that check hand out. Remember, it can be good if I'm bulldogging somebody. It can be bad if I'm just striking and I miss and I just stick that hand out for no reason. It's not actually checking anything. I'm not actually hitting anything. Then it becomes a target, right? So be aware. I'm practicing this, but I don't want to do this If I miss completely and I can't even touch them with this hand, I should not stick that hand out. Time. Same thing, other side. Ready? And begin. Pull that hip back as you do it. You can cock up and then drop it down back. All right, it's one easy way to practice this. Hip up and down, hip up and down. Blade edge as you're going through the strike. Boom. You can go from high load, you can go from shoulder load. Each time though, I want to go right back to my shoulder load position. Right? I don't want to stop down here. We can do that later if we know what we're doing. Right? There's things that we can do, but for now, we're setting up for a drill that we're going to do next. So go right back into that shoulder load. High load. Keep it going. I can throw that check hand out afterwards. Again, not if there's not a target. Right? I'm practicing it, but I'm imagining that I'm either hitting their hand or I hit their face, I hit their chest, and I'm pushing them backwards. I'm trying to off balance them. And time. All right, so the next thing that we're gonna do, some people call this just cross striking. The reason why is because it makes this cross. So imagine where the line is, it's a horizontal and a redondo. A horizontal and a redondo. All right, so we're doing both of these redondo strikes, the backhand redondo and our forehand redondo, but in between we have these horizontal strikes. Make sure that that blade edge is pointed for each one of these. Don't hit them like this, all right? None of that. All right, ready? We're gonna do 1 minute of this. Right hand first, and begin. Horizontal strike, backhand redondo. Horizontal strike, forehand redondo. That's why it has to go right back to that shoulder position so we can go to the next strike after each one of these. Here, here. Now notice, each time I do this, my hips turn. Hips turn, cock up, hips turn. Turn the hips. And now, as I'm re-chambering into this position, that's when my hips turn, and then I bring it back again for that redondo. Strike through, as I'm re-chambering, hips set up, and strike again. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Keep it going, 10 more seconds. Strike, strike. Blade edge, orientation every single time. No hitting with the flat edge of the blade. Keep it going. Also, don't get stung by the wasp or whatever bug that was that just flew by my face. And time. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to switch, do the same thing with our other side. Ready? Begin. Horizontal strike, redondo, horizontal, redondo. Now, I like to go for the high load position for my forehand redondo. You can do that, or you can go for this shoulder load. The thing is, when I do my shoulder load, sometimes I mess up and I will hit my own ear, and I don't like doing that, right? So if you do it too much, you might realize that happens to you. That's one of the reasons I like to do the high load. It feels more natural, kind of this big, powerful motion, and I can fling it faster because I'm not worried about hitting myself in the head or the ear because I have this slight angle on it, right? So be aware of that, especially with the left hand. I hit myself with the left hand way more than my right. You probably do too. It's all right. Keep this going. Strike. Hips turn. Hips turn. Every time, turn the hips. Every time, turn the hips. Keep it going. Notice I'm flowing, not putting a whole lot of power or a whole lot of speed. Keep that moving. And my timer messed up on me, so we're just going to assume that we have a few more seconds because it's our left hand and we don't cut our left hand short. So keep going. All right, so now what we're gonna do, we're gonna try to get our timer working, and we're going to do angles 1 and 2 fast and powerful as possible. This is gonna be a burnout, which means we're only doing it for 30 seconds. All right, so on your mark, get set, and begin. I want speed and power. Focus on the power a little bit more than the speed, but I do want it quick, all right? So I'm not gonna delay in between each one. Burn this out, turn your hips each time. Keep a good grip Don't let it go flying out of your hand. We have 5 more seconds on this side. Keep it going. Keep it going. And time. Switch sides and begin. Ooh, this left side needs that work. Keep that blade edge orientation. Imagine your opponent in front of you. Strike the clavicle. Keep it going. Burn it out. Get tired. We're only doing 10 minutes, right? Keep it going, keep it going. And time. All right, guys, so I'm a little out of breath. I'm sweating. Hopefully you are too. I'll see you again tomorrow. Have a good one.